Millions of families and professionals will touch the child welfare system this year alone, and it's the same every year. And this is the truth. Our system is complicated, it's confusing, and it's difficult to navigate. I'm your host, Shanelle Dupree, and this is Navigating Child Welfare. Because I don't know anyone who has navigated a system confused and has achieved the best possible outcome. And the outcomes are not just simple metrics. We're talking about families, we're talking about communities, and we're talking about impacting generations. So hug your loved ones a little bit tighter and let's dive in to make connections, gain clarity, and navigate the child welfare system well. I was reading and I saw a post and I want to share it. They posted anonymously, so I don't know who this is, but they were sharing from their heart some concerns that they had that I know a lot of workers feel this. Okay, I'm an ongoing caseworker who works closely with families and foster parents throughout the reunification or adoption process. Lately, I've been struggling in my relationships with some foster parents. Some interactions have been outright negative, while others involve foster parents feeling unheard or frustrated. A reoccurring issue is communication. I often become so focused on supporting the children and biological parents that foster parents' questions or concerns get unintentionally pushed aside. Over time, those delayed responses add up, and I can see how it feels to them that they're being ignored. Additionally, I've encountered foster parents who strongly disagree with reunification goals. In those situations, they sometimes push back on case decisions or become hostile towards me for simply doing my job, which has been emotionally exhausting and difficult to manage. I am constantly thinking about what foster parents think of me and if they are complaining about me. It has become draining. I'm looking for advice on communication or any tips that have worked for you. I read this and I thought, ooh, this is a real thing that many folks encounter and experience, and just want to say kudos to them because they didn't blame one person. They didn't necessarily blame the foster parents. They said, hey, I am really focused on this thing that I know I'm responsible for. I'm responsible for reintegration. I am responsible for reunification when a child is no longer placed in the home and the goal is reunification. And they said that they are sharing their questions or concerns and it unintentionally gets pushed aside. And once those things build up, then she can see how they can absolutely feel ignored. And so she's not, I'm assuming it's a she, is not saying it's everyone else's fault. She's saying, I'm holding all these things and I don't think I'm holding it well, but I'm not really sure how to deal with this and it's weighing on me. So the fact that it matters to her is important. And so, this issue of trying to hold all of it, of workers trying to manage all of the things, trying to, quite frankly, appease everyone, you can't. Like, there's no way that you can appease everyone, especially when everyone doesn't necessarily agree with what the goal is. And I know we've all seen it and we've all been there where people say with their mouth that they understand what the goal is, but then with their heart and with their actions, they're doing something different. And I'm talking about reunification when folks feel like these parents don't deserve a second chance or these children deserve better or whatever the narrative may or may not be. That's a totally different episode. We're just going to stick with the fact that workers are carrying a lot. And at times it feels incongruent. It's not meshing, it's not working together. And what I would say is that this worker needs additional support and they need a space and also a place to really get aligned with people who they're working with. And this is something that typically doesn't happen Workers are going from one thing to the next, from one emergency to the next, from one fire to the next, and there is no space and there is no time to really have a clear communication about what are the goals, how can we work towards that, and how can we plan for partnership, and then how can we also plan for pushback? What do we do when we don't agree? And that's going to happen. Like, not agreeing is going to happen. But how do we not allow that to impact the overall work that we're doing? Because what this worker is talking about is it's impacting her. Like, she's, I don't want to say obsessing about it, but it's on her mind. The fact that she feels like, she doesn't know what foster parents think of her. She feels like they're complaining about her. And it sounds like she also genuinely wants to do a good job. It's why I created Sinking Child Welfare. I want to give people their time, like reclaim your time so that we can stop wasting our time in fighting battles and doing things that aren't aligned and aren't going to be helpful for the family. If the goal is reunification, darling, the goal is reunification. And so, how do we all work towards that? Yes, there may be concerns. What is the way in which we can make sure that if there are concerns, and I'm talking about safety concerns, and I'm talking about actual, real concerns, not I would do this better, or they're not good enough, or I'm still mad at them for what they did, that we can have a space and a place to address that, right? So what is that thing? Because sometimes what can happen is you can have someone who has something to say about everything that at times it gets hard to listen to them because you say something about everything, like you're worried about everything. And so then it's like, okay, you're worried about nothing. Like nothing that you say is, so how do we make sure that when a person speaks that they're actually heard? And that's both responsibilities, right? So it means you can't just say all the things. You need to say the things that are actually important. The Sinking Child Welfare program is to just simplify and connect systems in the family and child welfare ecosystem so that staff, families, caregivers, and volunteers can reclaim their time and peace of mind. That's it. And so we do that by, we have a roadmap. And when we think about a roadmap, it tells you not only where things are on it, but how to get there. So our 360-degree family and child welfare roadmap is going to tell us how to achieve the things that we know we want to achieve in the family and child welfare system. And that is for staff and volunteer retention and happiness. We want for people to stay. We want for good people to stay, because when good people stay, good things happen. Continuity of care is huge in this work, and it matters when you have someone who has been there and you don't have to keep re-explaining what's happening and starting the case all over again. We want for partnership to happen, for there to be partnership mastery, for people to be experts in connecting with others so that they can be supported and others can be involved in the process. And we want for there to be trust with our caregivers and with our families by answering questions and providing actual insight into what's happening. And so it starts with the assessment. It's called the 360-degree assessment, and it's an online and free assessment that shows where people fit on the family and child welfare map. It assesses how they work with partners, and it gauges support and burnout, readiness to partner, and how to build trust with families, whether that's important to you or not. And this is the thing, the message that I read earlier, she's on the brink. She's dealing with burnout right now because it's hard to remember your why when you're always fighting. Like when there is no place to actually have real conversations with people to deal with real issues that people are facing. That can be hard, but that feels good. And that's where the 360-degree workshop comes up. So this workshop, it's going to really expose the participants to I've created and kind of not created, I mean, the systems existed, but I've bunched them in to really 10 systems within the family and child welfare ecosystem. And I train on this framework, these 10 systems, through a framework called Planning for Partnership, and then also Planning for Pushback. And the purpose is to really discover opportunities to partner well and to be supported well within the work of families. Going back to that email, it sounds like there may be a culture of that, who knows, within that specific agency or organization, but there needs to be a place where the caseworkers and the foster parents can have real, honest conversations, because some of these misunderstandings come up when people don't understand the actual role that people have. The caseworker is not the foster parent. The foster parent is not the caseworker. The guardian ad litem is not the caseworker. And sometimes we think that people should be doing what we're doing. That's not their role. And so people need to do their role well and also understand how they partner well with others. And then lastly, it's the 360-degree webinars. They're close to my heart because it's reminiscent to what I did 10, 15 years ago with my Sync 101 class. And what this is, though, is it's a series of webinars that are available anytime, and then we'll be doing at least one live once a month. And it's specifically going to be tailored for parents who are involved in foster care. It's going to be tailored for caregivers who are involved in foster care and others who may need their basic questions answered to navigate the family and child welfare system with clarity. That's the whole goal. We want to simplify systems and connect communities because our time is precious and our peace is precious. And we want to make sure that in this highly complex and at times hard system that we're not making things harder than they should be. And so this webinar is really a safe way for people to have their questions answered, for them to understand other people's roles in the system and their power. Like, what are the opportunities to make sure that their voice is actually being heard? And so my heart goes out to this caseworker, but this is the thing. This is not a uncommon feeling or struggle that she is having, that there are thousands of workers out there who are experiencing this same thing. How do I know this? Because retention is low in this world, and people are quitting, and they're quitting because they're burnt out, they've lost their joy, they've lost their peace, and they don't feel like they're making an impact. But we can make an impact in this work, and it does not have to be what it's always been. And so as we go into launching Syncing Child Welfare, I just invite you to come along on this journey with me. And we will be having a session where I am explaining all the things about this program. Come on in, listen, see if this makes sense for your organization so that we can have better outcomes, we can reclaim our time, and we can regain peace of mind in the family and child welfare system. And of course, you are invited to attend Syncing Child Welfare, the premiere. We are launching, having a conversation about what it is, who it's for, what it isn't, who it's not for, and would just invite you to attend. All that information will be in the show notes. It's going to be on January 7th and January 8th of the new year. Thanks so much for connecting.